Hello, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome to Northshore Online. We are so excited that you are spending this morning with us. My name is Samantha.
Yeah, and I'm Wolfgang, part of the team, and we are thrilled to have you with us for this last Sunday of 2020.
Yes.
Crazy.
What a year.
What a year.
And many of you probably joined us on Thursday for our Christmas Eve service, which was spectacular. It was such a fun time to be able to celebrate together. But if this is your first time joining us, we would love to get to know you. So go ahead and text us, Northshore to 97,000. We'll get in touch with you, connect with you, and hopefully help you find your next step here at Northshore.
Yeah, as we've already said, 2020 has sort of been a year like no other. And so we want to wrap the year up by doing something a little bit different. We're going to reflect back on some of the ways that even in this challenging season, we've seen God on the move, because there have been lots of those ways. And I'm excited that you're here as we sort of think through what some of those were. Now, a big part of getting through this year for many of us has been worship. It's just been acknowledging God for who He is, reminding ourselves by singing together what He's doing and what He's done. And that's how we're going to get started today, with a song whose lyrics are sort of talk about the idea of trusting even in the middle of the most challenging times. It's become a sort of theme song for a lot of people. This song, Yes, I Will. And so to get started today, will you join us? Let's sing it together. Yes, I Will.
I count on one thing. The same God never fails, will not fail me now. You won't fail me now in the waiting. The same God who's never late is working all things out. You're working all things out. Oh yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Oh yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my day. Oh yes, I will.
So, one of the highlights of what has been a challenging year has been growing partnerships with so many wonderful organizations in our area. I mean, with all the needs that emerged in this past year, the reality is we could never, ever meet all of them ourselves. And so we had the chance to deepen our connection and partnership with so many wonderful organizations here locally and around the world.
Yeah, and a few right off the top that come to mind. Woodinville Storehouse, who are serving so many people in our area, and we were able to do that huge food drive this summer. I think 6 tons of food.
It was unbelievable.
Which they're still handing out, I
Yes,
think.
indeed. I was just over there last week and just had a chance to see those partners and to watch them continuing to serve families as they've been doing every week through this entire experience.
It's wonderful.
Really
and
something.
Bloodworks Northwest as well. We had a few different blood drives throughout this year.
Yeah.
And to be able to help them in what they're doing was just remarkable.
And it wasn't just people from Northshore doing that, of course.
Yeah.
It was so cool to see people from our broader community who signed up to come and do the amazing thing of donating blood when the need was just so high.
And being able to partner also with Vision House, who they are providing transitional housing for people who are moving out of homelessness.
Yeah.
And to be able to help them in their ministry and what they're doing was also such a blessing.
Yeah, as the needs continued to grow and so many families were going through financial challenges, Vision House was able to expand their impact. They actually opened 10 new apartments for families that are coming out of homelessness, trying to get on their feet. And to see those open and to be some part of seeing those furnished and equipped was just an incredible opportunity.
Such a celebration.
It totally was. And the cool thing as well, recently we just had the Giving Tree experience. We were able to team up with them again and provide resources that you gave to bless the kids who are part of their 2 campuses in Renton and of course out in Shoreline. Pretty
They're
extraordinary.
all doing incredible work.
Yeah, and it's not just the things happening here locally. There's remarkable things, partners that have been serving literally around the world. People that we've been working with for a long time, for instance, our partners in India, who serve some of the poorest people in the northern part of that amazing country. They were able to mobilize almost immediately and begin to provide basic food staples for people who had no other way to feed themselves or support their families. They filled in the gap as really the government there in India was trying to figure out how in the world to provide aid for their folks. And again, we got to be some part of that, which was incredible.
Yeah.
Or our partners in Spain, who have just a long track record of serving so faithfully the women who have found themselves trapped in slavery, and to not only help rescue them, but to care for them along the way. I just heard a recent story where some of the young women who were part of that and rescued from that life were actually completed their schooling to be able to develop the career that they needed to support their family and be able to be self-sufficient. It's just incredible stories.
So cool.
Really
I
extraordinary.
love that we've been able to partner with these amazing ministries.
Yeah, there have been so many things, it's almost easy to start to forget. But one thing we will never forget was, of course, all the way back in late February and March, when Kirkland, Washington became the epicenter of the very first outbreak. In fact, less than 2 miles from our campus, Life Care Center of Kirkland was on the news on every channel you could turn to.
Yeah,
And
you couldn't miss it.
it was unbelievable. And yet there was such a unique opportunity for us to step in and to team up with the important work that they were doing to care for people. Just to remember, you'll have a chance to look at the interview that we had with the director there back when this was first happening, and then recently I had a chance to sit down with Ellie, my friend there, who told us a bit of how things are going at Life Care right now. So check this out. Well, I am so excited to have the chance to sit down with my friend Ellie once again. Ellie, we first met over 10 months ago, right at the beginning of all this craziness, back when Life Care Center Kirkland was in the news on every channel you could find. I know a lot has happened, and so excited to get the chance to check back in. So thank you for spending a little bit of time in what I know is a busy time.
Absolutely.
How are things going there at Life Care? How's everybody holding up?
We are doing fantastic. We are currently waiting for our COVID vaccine clinic information from our pharmacy. We're really excited. It's been a long road.
Are you guys sort of semi back to normal? What's that experience like for the residents?
We are somewhat semi back to normal. We're still doing isolation on half the building, and then the other half, they're free to come out of their rooms and participate as long as they're wearing masks. Again, just those precautions because we don't want to repeat.
And how about your team? How are they holding up? How are things there?
They are fabulous. They're still here. They're still working. and they're still taking care of our residents.
Well, I know this past 10 months, there's been challenges, of course, but there's been so much of the community stepping up. Can you talk a little bit about the impact that's had on what's happening there at Life Care?
Absolutely. We've actually had several companies who have come and said, you guys were such an inspiration to us. I'm going through what you went through. And so we want to do a little bit of something for you and your staff. One did an eating area and served the staff as they came in for a shift. We had another one set up a coffee bar. So we've had 3 or 4 of those. It's just really nice to see the other facilities are willing to take the time out to thank the staff that work here for everything that they've been through and what they've done. It's been great.
That's great. Well, I know we've kept in touch a little bit. Obviously, there was that season where we were involved in helping get meals there. And every once in a while, we try to drop in a little treat. I know there was a crew that was just down there Christmas caroling last weekend.
The residents love that stuff. It's been hard with the whole mask mandate, social distancing, encouraging not to hang around with families. Every little opportunity that the residents get to have social distancing activities, they love it.
What has kept your team and other frontline workers like you motivated through this?
We've had people drop off cookies. We've had gift baskets dropped off. People who have donated meals during Christmas time for the staff here. There are days where a thank you means everything. There are days where somebody just said thank you to me and I burst out crying. It means that much. Any healthcare worker, just a simple thing.
That's so great. At the risk of sounding cliche right now, thank you, sincerely, just for the hard work I know you've done, being the unique situation that you were in and leading through that challenge. Thank you for just continuing to serve and love people well. And let's all pray that 2021 is a much brighter year for all of us.
Thank you to everybody at the church there. You guys have truly been wonderful.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again for taking a little bit of time. I hope you have a fantastic new year and we'll talk again soon.
Sounds great.
There is a king seated among us. Let every heart receive him now. Where there is praise, he will inhabit. There will be grace and mercy all around. Every burden will be lifted in his presence. Every trophy will be laid down at his feet. There is a name that reigns above all others. Jesus Christ, the King above all kings. Unto the Lamb, honor and glory. Worthy is he who overcame, buried in shame, risen in power. He is alive, the stone is rolled away. All our worship will belong to him forever. Death is conquered, and our Savior holds the keys. There is a name that reigns above all others. Jesus It won't be long. We will behold him, and every tear he'll wipe away. We'll be at home. The war will be over. Soon we will meet our Savior face to face, and every burden will be lifted in his presence. Every trophy will be laid down at his feet. There is a name that reigns above all others, Jesus Christ, the King above all kings. And all of our worship will belong to you forever. Holy, holy, for all eternity. There is a name that reigns above all others, Jesus Christ, the King above all kings. Jesus Christ, the King above all kings.
Hey Northshore, my name is Brian and I'm on staff here, and one of the heroes that we're celebrating today is kind of a hero that is not talked about as much, and that is technology. We're actually out here in the online studio that we have built out over the last few months to get ready for a lot of the things that we've been filming and our online hosts and our pre-service show, and it's been an awesome project to work on. Sam's actually getting ready for another shoot. Hi Sam. And we've just been really leaning into all of the ways that we can reach other people in our world as a church. And so one of those ways is through our online campus. And we're actually going to take a tour around campus and visit a few other people on staff who have been leveraging technology to reach others for Jesus. So let's go. Hey, Chris.
What's up, guys?
Well, hey everyone, I wanted to introduce you to Chris, who's our Director of Communications
Hey,
here
Northshore.
at Northshore, and I thought it'd be cool for you to just share with everyone some of the technology that goes behind what makes weekend experiences happen.
Yeah, so on Sunday mornings, the production team hands off the video for us and we make sure that it gets up on the internet. So we can broadcast on our website, on YouTube and Facebook, so this can go all around the world. Take a look at this heat map over here. This is just one service. On any given Sunday, we have 1,800 people tuning in from over 25 states and 9 different countries. That doesn't even include weekly alpha attendance or anybody showing up for Starting Point or the life groups that are happening here on Northshore. It's been an incredible time, and this year alone we've seen like 350,000 message plays in 2020. It's been super awesome, and we just love being a part of Sunday mornings here.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Chris, for everything that your team does to make
Thank you.
Sunday experiences
Yeah.
happen and church happen on Sundays still. Even though we're online, it's really awesome to have you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
All right, we're
Love
gonna go
you.
find
See
someone
ya.
else. Yep, see ya.
Hello. Hello. Come on into my office.
I mean, y'all know Brandon already.
Hi.
Pastors of Groups and Care. Is that the official title?
That's the title.
Well, Brandon, I thought it would be awesome for you to share a little bit about how technology has played a role in life groups here at North Shore.
Awesome. Totally.
Yeah.
So what a crazy season this has been for all of us, and especially our life groups, as we're trying to still get together and be in community with each other. We can't all be in the same room right now, obviously, and so it has just been such a blessing to have Zoom and Teams and FaceTime, just all the technology that allows us to still connect during this season. And for many of us, we're on Zoom calls all day for work, but just leaning in and hopping on just one more call at the end of our day for life group is a bright spot in a lot of our weeks. So yeah, and what's been really exciting to me too is that there's people from different parts of the state and even different parts of the country that are able to join some of our life groups because of that technology. So it's been a crazy year, but we are super thankful for the technology that allows us to still be in community together. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Thank you, Brandon, for
Yeah.
everything you do for us.
Thanks
I
for
love
stopping
it.
by.
Yeah, absolutely.
bye.
All right, see you. So this is our control room for the broadcast, and this is kind of where everything gets put together for a Sunday morning. And so during the week, as we're recording our services, we have teams of volunteers coming in on the production team and on the worship team, coming together to help make the Sunday morning experiences happen. And we are so thankful for our production and worship volunteers. So thank you, if you're watching this, for helping to make our online services possible. And also to thank you to everyone else who are a part of this community, who are helping to make spaces like this happen and services like this happen, that we can be online together for our neighbors and our community with that. And although everything looks really great on a Sunday morning, things aren't always as smooth as we'd hoped for them to be.
Well, thank y'all so much for joining us this here on nope. I work here. With us this morning. Nope. One more time. Crud buckets. From
Clap.
Thanks.
Hey!
I started waving.
We want to
There's going to be a weather pattern that's going to flow in from the west, and we're expecting some rain down here on the Dead Sea. Look at verse 2. And
Sipping. What happened here? Did your thing melt? Did it really?
It really did. It was there.
Oh my gosh, look at that. It's like acid, man. What's going on here?
Wow, it does taste pepperminty. There's nothing better than a good blooper reel.
Well,
I'm sorry.
They're more fun when they're not you, but
That's
they are
true.
fun. That's for sure.
True.
That's for sure.
But in all seriousness, we are just so grateful for all of the volunteers that are a part of our team that have just stepped up to the plate this year, and also life group leaders and everyone involved in life groups who have really come together and just made things happen.
Yeah.
It's been incredible. And many of you know, if you've been around here for a while, last year, without knowing what 2020 was going to bring, we here at Northshore put a stake in the ground that we were going to be together for our neighbors, the next generation, and those in need. And wow, that's happened.
Yeah, we were celebrating our 50th anniversary as a church and had no idea what our 51st year was going to hold. And yet just sense God's providence that He was going before us in that whole initiative around Together For. All those signs that people were putting in their yards, I still see them in people's yards as I drive around our area.
We have ours in our yard.
Absolutely. Of people that are just declaring, look, we want to be a church community that isn't known for what it's against, but what it's for.
Yeah.
And that has been so much more than just talk this year. That has actually shown itself in so many practical ways of people who have stepped up. Because putting a sign in the yard was really only the beginning. Many of you stepped up in remarkable ways. For instance, the Together For teams that have recently gotten off the ground. What an exciting thing to see, this environment where people can share needs, but they can also step up to meet needs.
And I saw, Wolfgang, you posted a while ago at the beginning of December, a post about a young mom who was going to be transitioning from shelter living to an apartment, and she didn't have anything for her apartment.
Absolutely, and dozens of people stepped up to provide everything from dish towels to furniture to help her get settled. And that's just one example of the dozens and dozens of examples that of just great stories that have happened through that unique environment.
And one specifically, back in the spring, we met Nancy, who saw a need in her apartment complex, and instead of waiting for somebody else to kind of initiate something, she stepped up, and we had the chance to check back in with her and see how things have been going. So go ahead and check this out.
Well, Nancy, I am so excited to be sitting back down with you again. It's crazy to think that the last time we did a Zoom conversation like this was it 7 or 8 months ago? It must have been like March, April.
It was like April, I think.
Yeah, so great.
Never thought I'd be here doing this in December for sure.
Yeah, so really we just wanted to check in as we were doing the series Heroes of 2020 and just thinking of people that have inspired us. Your name kept coming up, and so tell us just what has been going on since the last time we did this Zoom conversation to now, what have you been up to?
Well, we've been doing quite a bit, actually. We've, through prayer, I've been trying to figure out, how can we connect even more? I mean, sure, supplying food is a great way of taking care of our neighbor and loving them. Yeah. But I wanted more. And as I was praying, God kept laying on my heart, there's opportunities not only for me to serve these people, but for our communities. So it's pretty exciting because, everybody knows now what we do because we've been doing it for almost 10 months now. Yeah. And so a lot of times we're the only connection some of these people have. And then to see people coming together from Northshore as well, reaching in, taking phone calls, praying with people, sharing Christ with them, just letting them know they're not forgotten.
When I hear you talking about it, this seems like something that started off to fill a need, but now is potentially something that will carry on beyond kind of COVID restrictions.
This pandemic has brought the whole world to a place where their hearts are open, and we can't quit now because we've got a kind of a soil that's ready to be nurtured. As a matter of fact, we are planning on starting a Bible study virtually where when we were doing our prayer over the bag, we were saying, okay, well, what can we do next? Well, it's like, let's do a Bible study online. So we're working on that maybe in February.
Why do you do it? What's the heart behind it?
Well, I think that for me, it helps me to appreciate the things that God has done for me and to pass that along. It like I said in the beginning, I started out with a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, and God has taken that away and turned it into a joy for me. To say during COVID that I'm actually joyful, how can you even beat that? I mean, you can't.
Well, my last question, is there anything else that just as a community, as Northshore, that we can continue to do to just support the work that you're doing?
Well, prayer is key. I mean, I feel that that's really important right now because we have about 31 residents that we kind of take care of here. But then we do need continued support for the pantry as far as financial support because it looks like for us it's going to be at least a year long. I mean, I think we're going to be doing this until April, May, until vaccines and all that sort of stuff starts to, come into play. Well, I'd like to thank Northshore and the people and the members. I get notes and messages and all kinds of encouragement, and I just really appreciate it, and it's very much appreciated here for sure. Thank you.
It's just such a great story. Last week, Scotty talked about the importance of finishing the calendar year strong financially at Northshore and the amount that was needed to close the gap as we finish up this calendar year. And I know many of you have stepped up to that, and we sincerely want to say thank you. And with this being the last Sunday of 2020, I wanted to update you on where we stand. That number that you see there on the screen is what's needed to finish this calendar year on track. And I know talking about numbers like this can seem a little overwhelming, but each year, so many of you step up to play a part in keeping Northshore healthy financially. And while, of course, most of us can't write a check for that amount on our own, we can all play a part. And so many of you continue to be so generous, and we're so grateful. So here are the details on how you can give. Just follow the link and the instructions there on your screen. Now, to those who've already given, thank you. And for those who haven't, will you pray with us about playing a part in closing out 2020 strong? So thank you again for continuing to partner with us as we're together for our neighbors, the next generation, and those in need. 2020 really has been a unique year. And it's been one of those years when we've seen new words come into our daily vocabulary. Words like pandemic, quarantine, social distancing, asymptomatic, the new normal, and my favorite of all, pivot. I'll be honest, it'd be okay with me if I never heard some of those words again as long as I live. But something tells me we're still going to be hearing quite a few of these for a while. But there have been words that we've heard a lot this year. There's one word, though, that's been used a lot that's taken on sort of a new meaning or significance. It's this word hero. Now, hero, of course, is a word that we've always used in all kinds of ways. But in this challenging time, we've been reminded of what a hero really is. There's something about challenging times that have a way of doing that for us. They sort of reset our perspective on things. And I've seen that happen with this specific word, the word hero. Now, we've been reminded that being a hero has nothing to do with celebrity or wealth or athletic ability. This year, we were reminded of what a true hero is. It's someone who puts aside their own instinct of self-protection and is willing to step up to sacrifice or to give or to serve for the sake of others. Heroes are those who are willing to do just that for other people, to care for them, to meet their needs, to help them through a challenging time. And we've seen lots of them this year. Our minds immediately go to frontline workers, whether it's in the medical field, the service industry, first responders, many others who've been willing to put aside their own comfort and safety to serve. You remember when all this was first happening, there were nights when people in some cities were going outside at a certain time each evening to applaud or to bang on pots and pans as a way of honoring those that were serving? Now, some of that has faded, of course, as we've all gotten a little tired through this, especially those who've been serving. But that doesn't change the fact that these servants deserve our honor, our respect, our gratitude. Now, all day today, we've been talking about some true heroes, whether it's our hero partners, hero individuals, different kinds of heroes that deserve the same gratitude, respect, and admiration. And I heard those stories, I couldn't think of these profound words from Jesus. With his disciples arguing over who would be the greatest, trying to figure out the scorecard on what makes a person great, how to climb the ladder towards significance and success, Jesus turned everything upside down when he said this in Mark 10, 43 and 44. He said, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. See, Jesus redefines what it means to be great, to be a hero. It's those who are willing to put aside their preferences or their agenda or their comfort and to selflessly serve others. And of course, he doesn't just talk about it, he shows it. He goes on in Mark 10, verse 45, and says this, "For even the Son of Man," speaking of himself, "did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." See, in this moment, Jesus completely redefines greatness. And it's not based on social standing or net worth. It's based on a willingness to put aside your own interests, to be willing to sacrifice for the sake of others. And of course, he's the perfect picture of such a servant, a true hero. Not only willing to serve, but to ultimately give his life out of love for each of us. You know, this year, so many of you have followed Jesus' example in big ways and small ways, through your serving, through your giving, in so many ways. So many of you have stepped up to serve locally through the food drives we mentioned earlier, or through Giving Tree, or through the Together For teams, as we said. And you've continued to be generous and enabled us to send literally tens of thousands of dollars to international and domestic partners providing crisis relief. And I got to tell you, I've been on staff here for 9 years. I've never been so proud to be part of this place through this challenging year. And I just want to say, way to go. But of course, this isn't about any of us. It's not about Northshore. It's about Jesus. This is about doing the very kinds of things he did, the kinds of things he's still doing, meeting needs, changing lives, offering peace and hope, working miracles of all shapes and sizes. See, this is the kind of work our great hero, Jesus himself, is still doing today. And he's been using you to do it. And I believe he wants to keep using us as we move into this new year. Now, I know so many of us, we are so done with 2020, and I get it. But next week, we're going to start a new series called Before You Cancel 2020. So before you totally write off last year, we're going to spend a couple of weeks thinking through some of the lessons that God's been teaching us through this season. because there's something about challenging times. They have a unique way of teaching us things that other times don't. And there are all kinds of lessons to be learned. So as we begin 2021 later this week, I can't tell you exactly what this new year will hold, but this I'm sure of. There will continue to be opportunities for all of us to do what Jesus did, and that's to live as a servant, continuing to serve, continuing to love, continuing to give. Those opportunities exist whether we're in a pandemic or not. With so much uncertainty, this we do know. We will have the chance to continue to follow the selfless servant example of our hero, Jesus. And just as we show honor and respect and gratitude to these heroes among us, we show even greater honor and gratitude to the greatest servant of them all, the greatest hero of all, Jesus Christ. This is what the Apostle Paul writes in Colossians chapter 1, verses 15 through 20. He says this, "The Son, Jesus, is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities. All things have been created through him and for him. He is before all things, and I love this line, in him all things hold together." He's held some of us together this year, hasn't he? But Paul goes on, verse 18, he says, "He is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning and the firstborn from among the dead, so that in everything he might have the supremacy. For God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in him, and through him to reconcile himself all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven, by making peace through his blood shed on a cross." See, friends, when we look at Jesus, we see the most accurate picture of who God is. This servant, this hero who's come to rescue us. This is what he's done for us. This is his selfless example that he set. And this is what he calls us to be about in this world, to live as servants in 2021 and beyond. So would you pray with me, not only for this, but also for this new year? Let's pray together. Oh God, I thank you for showing your true heart, your character, your servant, sacrificial nature by opening a door through Jesus that we could be made right with you, that we could walk with you even through challenging seasons as we've been through in this past year. God, I thank you for the way that we've seen you moving. I thank you for the miracles that you've been working in so many lives, transforming hearts, meeting needs, inspiring service and generosity. It's been a joy to be part of your body. And Lord, we look to you, Jesus, as the head of the church. We simply want to follow your example. And so as we look into 2021, having no idea exactly what it will hold, we pray that you will shore us up, that you will remind us that you can be trusted, just as we've learned this year, and that you will use us to continue to bring this kind of servant spirit to our world that so desperately needs it. Father, I pray in this coming year that you will show yourself supreme in every imaginable way, and that you'll continue to use us as your people to be about your work in this world. And I ask it in the name of the greatest hero of all, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Lord bless you and keep
May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He is with you, he is with you in the morning, in the evening, in your coming and your going, in your weeping and rejoicing. He is for you, 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 he is for you.
So thank you again for spending some time with us today here at Northshore Online. I'm glad you wrapped up the year with us.
Yeah, and the next time we see you, it'll be 2021.
It's hard to believe.
Happy New Year. But we will see you next week, same time, same place, right here at Northshore Online. Thanks for joining us.
Happy New Year, everybody.